Welcome into the Alabama Football Report. I am Tom Downey. Some recruiting news, updates, all pretty damn interesting that we'll get into here in a little bit. But first, let's get the comment section popping. Of the recent Alabama quarterbacks, so not going too far back, frankly, who's your favorite one? Tua? You type in TT. Mac Jones? MJ. The most recent one? Bryce Young? Type in BY. I still think the Crimson Tide can claim Jalen Hurts, so I'll throw him on here too. That's JH. I'm not saying best, but favorite. Who is your favorite Alabama quarterback in recent memory? Sound off for me in the comment section. Let's talk recruiting then, as growing buzz of Caleb Odom ending up at Alabama when it's all said and done. He took an official visit to the Crimson Tide and came away quite impressed, saying that Alabama is now at the top of his list, beating out Ole Miss and some other schools for now at least. I do think this is important, getting a tight end. The vibe I get from this Bama offense under Tommy Rees, going to use more tight ends. You're going to need to recruit them then. And Odom is one of the better tight ends in this upcoming class. Here's what he said. After the OV, official visit, I realized everything felt right. It was a great visit, and they jumped out in front now. Alabama made it tough, and I'll leave it at that. You can kind of connect the dots from that perspective in terms of he clearly liked what he saw from the visit with the Alabama Crimson Tide, all of which I think bodes well for the Bama potentially landing him. Now, he's not going to commit quite yet. There are other schools very much in the mix. He's got visits upcoming. Penn State, June 9th, Auburn, June 12th, and Miami, June 23rd. Also all per On3, who spoke to Odom, by the way. Ole Miss also apparently high on his list. No official visits scheduled yet, but I would expect that he takes one there. Odom is a top 6 tight end in this recruiting class for 2024. He's a 4-star, number 85 overall. He's from Georgia. Always good to recruit the top players from that state because it's a highly high school talent football rich state. He is the number 6 tight end, by the way, in this class. Maybe that could rise. A lot of the big powers are after him. Tight ends typically rank a little bit lower because, hey, they're tight ends. So I'm excited to see if Odom does end up committing, maybe in July potentially, to Alabama. So be honest with us, folks. Still trying to dial in the content here. Do you like our Alabama recruiting videos? Or you just want to stick with real football, not, recruiting stuff? Y for yes, N for no. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comment section. Y or N? Cai Bates, next up here. We've talked about him and Odom before. It's kind of interesting updates here. Bates took a visit to Alabama, and sounds like things went pretty well. Also doesn't sound like he was necessarily at the same level as Odom was, or if he's close to committing or anything like that. As we've made that before, and you'll see in a little bit, a big difference in the Cai Bates 24/7 rankings and the 24/7 composite rankings. But first, let's hear what Cai Bates had to say about his visit to Alabama. Speaking with 24/7 Sports, the highlights of the trip were definitely being able to meet Coach Saban and having great conversation with him and having the opportunity to be in constant contact with the players and get a real look at how everyday life is for them and envisioning myself at Alabama making an impact. It's a good quote from Cai Bates. That doesn't say that much, but also saying quite a bit, which I think maybe that's how official visits really go in the end. He's a 4-star recruit. Number 223 overall in the 2024 cycle. He is the number 17 cornerback, by the way. Number 32 in the state of Florida. He's got more visits to come. Florida State, June 11th. Tennessee, June 16th. And LSU, June 23rd. So some upcoming visits. Says, hey, it's the summer. Perfect time to go take your official visits, right? Now, we will have more Alabama football videos for you guys right here on the channel, so make sure you are subscribed. Links at the bottom below, youtube.com/@RollTideTV. Get more recruiting updates, more football videos once fall practice finally gets going. We'll do some positional previews as well. Hit that sub button for me right now. Another player we've spent time talking about, but hey, they got some news on him. Daniel Hill took an unofficial visit to Alabama this week on Saturday. They had a camp. He did not participate, but he did go to the camp unofficially. He is likely to visit officially in June. On3 says June 16th to 18th, but that's still to be confirmed. And you know how official visits go. They can change at the drop of a hat. A flight delay, boom, now you can't go, right? Hill will likely end up as a running back in college when it's all said and done, which, hey, that certainly makes some sense from that perspective. However, Alabama did make, or maybe not however, but in good news, everyone, Hill dropped a top 8. Alabama made list. Now, we've mentioned his interest in Auburn, LSU, Tennessee before. In addition to those 4 schools, he also had Michigan, Mississippi State, Penn State, South Carolina. Hill was a top 200 recruit, 4-star overall. He's the number 16 athlete again. Likely ends up at the running back position, but he is for now labeled as an athlete. He's number 7 from the state of Mississippi, so the Bulldogs want to keep him, but we'll see if that actually ends up happening. Now, I'm on record. We'll see if I look smart, dumb, or somewhere in between, or maybe closer to the dumb side. I think June will be a good month for Alabama in the recruiting side of things. How many commits do you think Alabama ends up getting? They've got 1 so far. How many more do you think are going to come this month? Get those predictions in for me in the comment section. One to keep an eye on is actually a flip. 5-star linebacker Demarcus Riddick. The Crimson Tide, and Auburn too, by the way, have been pushing hard to flip Riddick from the Bulldogs and get him to the state of Alabama. He's going to visit the Crimson Tide June 16th to the 18th. Now, that's not uncommon for players committed elsewhere in the summer to go visit other programs. I think that's just smart on their front, although maybe you wouldn't have committed right away, but that's beside the point there. It does sound like, per various reports, especially from On3, that the Crimson have a great chance of landing Riddick via flip. Here's what he's saying he's looking forward to on his upcoming visit. I just want to get to know more about the academics. Keep the relationship with the coaches going. That's about it. I've seen everything. I pretty much know everything. I just want to get to know more about the academics and see what the dorm room looks like. Alabama's a perfect school. At first, I didn't really like Alabama like that. But when I got to build that relationship with the coaches and meet some of the players, I was like, oh, Alabama's not that bad. I think I could possibly play here. I love that school. Alabama is the hometown. He is from Alabama. He is the number 2 player in the state. Seems like the Crimson Tide have done a good job of showing him why it makes sense to potentially come to the Crimson Tide. He's a 5-star, again, committed to Georgia. For now, if you like the On3 prediction machine, they're trending towards Alabama being the actual spot, not the spot he's currently committed to. Number 3 linebacker, 25 overall. Would be nice to flip a 5-star away from Georgia. That is the end of today's video. If you made it to the end, first off, thank you. You guys are awesome. You help us keep the lights on here at Chat Sports. We appreciate your support. Type in Roll Tide in the comments if you made it to the end so we can show you some love down there.